Najib Razak relied on Joe Low because he had confirmed that the businessman had a special relationship with the Saudi royalty. The former Prime Minister, who went back to the dock after 16 days of questioning, told the High Court this news made him believe that the $620 million had personally come from the Saudi king.
Aras 5.
By the Malaysian Insight, this is The People versus Najib Razak. Follow us into the courtroom where it all happens. I'm Patrick Teo. The first half of Day 74 of Najib's SRC trial was taken up by the re-examination of the accused. Harvey continued his questioning by asking Najib why he thought Joe Low was a conduit for the Saudi royal family. Najib said it was because Joe had a special relationship with them. The former PM said he had checked with his back channels and found it was true. That's why I didn't doubt the donation came from King Abdullah, he said. Remember the $2.6 billion donation that Najib received and how he said he returned $620 million in surplus? Harvey asked Najib to clarify why he returned the money. Najib said the funds were for the general election, and at the time it was already over. I wasn't comfortable with such a large sum lying in the account. I decided to do a good and sincere gesture by returning the money, he said. He also didn't want it to be known outside, as it was a confidential and sensitive matter. Why didn't you want anyone to know? Harvey asked. I didn't want there to be any misconception, Najib answered. The Saudis support other governments around the world and they continue to do so. There was nothing that was out of context. Najib added that the Saudi donation meant he didn't have to owe gratitude to anyone. He was relieved that he could call on this source as opposed to corporate figures. Harvey then brought up Najib's signatures, a point of contention in the trial. The defense have argued against the authenticity of the signatures in certain documents, alleging forgery. The prosecution, on the other hand, have grilled Najib repeatedly over his inability to authenticate his own signatures. Harvey asked his client why it was that he isn't able to identify his own signatures. It was because I didn't realize that they could have been forged until the trial started, Najib said. That's when I realized that it could have been cut and pasted, especially when it was not the original. That's why I asked for an expert, he added. Following a short coffee break, Najib's lead counsel Shafi Abdullah took over from his colleague Harvey. He asked Najib about the 42 million ringgit that went into his private accounts, which the prosecution alleged were bribes. Najib said there was no arrangement between himself and SRC to construe the money as such. There has been no written evidence, no verbal evidence offered in this court that there was any arrangement. There was no mention of any meeting taking place, simply because there was no such thing at all, Najib said. He added that only a moron would wait 3 years for gratification. The 4 billion ringgit KWAP loan was approved in 2011 and 2012, while the transfer from SRC into his personal accounts took place in 2014 and 2015. People get gratification for personal reasons, to buy a house, a car, but it went into a CSR account, Najib pointed out. However, it must be noted that the AmBank accounts were in Najib's name. That concluded the re-examination. After 16 days on the witness stand, Najib was finally let go. After lunch, a new witness took the stand and Najib was back in the accused dock. It was a name we've heard before, Crystal Yap, the relationship manager from AmBank and colleague of Joanna Yu. Today, she accessorized her green dress with a face mask. She is the defense's second witness. Crystal said she never dealt with Nick Faisal or Najib, but she did send emails to Nick on the authorization of Joanna, who was her boss. She said that Joanna had on several occasions instructed her to meet with Joe's associate Kee Kok Tiam in order to facilitate cash deposits which the latter had intended to make into Najib's various accounts. The cash deposit was done because Najib's account was overdrawn. Crystal helped Kee expedite dealings with the bank, or as she put it, cut the queue. However, she did not know why it was Kee who facilitated those deposits. And with that, Crystal was let go from the stand and proceedings wrapped up for the day. The trial will continue tomorrow. This podcast is produced, written and mixed by Revati Subramaniam and Yapik Kwan. I'm Patrick Teo.